Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome our Philippine journey, Mike and Arlen. And today we have a very, I think, interesting blog. I really do. Foreigners are going broke in the Philippines. And while that's not unusual, it's becoming more usual. It's happening more often. We're seeing retired people run out of money, and we're seeing people who have come here to live run out of money. Let's talk about it for just a little bit, and I'd love to hear your comments and what you think about it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please consider it and hit that thumbs up. It really, really makes a difference. That little thumbs up button down there makes a big difference in the algorithm for us. So let's talk about it. Why are foreigners going broke in the Philippines? Now, obviously, I can't give you the answer and I can't tell you why for everybody. But we can tell you the ones that we do see, and some we actually know that it's happened to. I guess maybe the simplest thing to say is that it's become more prevalent. It's happening more. And that is shocking to me, at least. It may not be to you, but it is to me. So let's go through those reasons. Please don't hesitate to comment below. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. We love it. We respond to every comment. We read every comment. So, got my list here because it actually had to put them in an order, kind of. All right. There are two big driving forces. And we'll talk about both of them. The first one is their health care. And if you're young and you're just coming here to live and visit and stuff like that, you may not feel that applies to you, and it may not. But we're seeing more and more young people moving to the Philippines, guys in their 30s, guys in their 40s, all right, are much more common living here, moving here, and living, not retiring here, because they're not retired, but they're moving here. All right. And so I guess maybe we should describe it as, to me, retirement means you've ended your working career. You're not going to work any longer. Now, there are a lot of different reasons that they move here, but we're not going to go into it. The point is we're seeing a lot more younger people coming. We see a considerable amount here in Angeles City, and you see it in Manila. Well, you know what? Whether they're old or young, it's healthcare, because you're only one step away from using every penny you have to survive a significant healthcare encounter. If you need a cardiac stent, if you need a bypass, if you have a meningioma, if you have a glioblastoma, that kind of stuff is not cheap here. Okay? Bottom line. The second thing that we see, other than healthcare, all right, and we see that more in older people, I'll admit, but the second thing that we see most often is people live beyond their means. And this is something that I just don't understand. I don't understand it because in the back of my mind, I think that the reason they came to the Philippines was so they could live within their means and live the life that they want. But because humans because people, by virtue of human nature, are envious. Okay? It's a culture that we've evolved into. We become envious of others, and so we do what others do. Well, if you are going to live beyond your means because you're trying to imitate other people that can live beyond your means, you're going to spend every penny you've got. It's pretty simple, I think. You can't do it. You can't party like a rock star. You can't party like a rock star every day, every night, unless you have a significant income. Which, it kind of moves us to that next one, and that is continue to save money. You see, you can party like a rock star for a long time if you have a big savings. So let's say you've got a source of money and you've got a savings large. Well, if you don't keep feeding that principle, you don't continue saving, you're cutting that principle down piece by piece by piece. And I'm not going to get into the mechanics of finances, but you should pretty well be able to figure out you can't do that. It doesn't work. Okay? Sooner or later, it catches up. What we do see is we see people that are retired but treat their life like they're on vacation. Well, retirement should be a great time, but you can't treat it like vacation. You're not on vacation. Vacation means I go and I get on a plane and I'm going wherever I want. And if I don't like it there, I'm going to go somewhere else and I'm going to stay in really nice places and I'm going to eat really good food and I'm going to see all the attractions and go on all the excursions. Well, you can't do that every day. Okay? We do it. We get out, okay? But we're not hopping out to Thailand once a month and then Singapore next month and then Bali the month after. You can't be on permanent retirement. You can do it for a while until you run out of money, but then you're broke. And that's what we see. We've seen it. We've absolutely seen it. Okay? So those things kind of bring us to awareness of take a look at your current spend rate. Take a look at your net spending and measure that against your net income. Remember I said net because your net income is going to be less any tax liabilities, any healthcare liabilities, whatever. And your net spending is almost like a gross number unless you can deduct it. If you find a way to taxably deduct some of your spending, that's great. And there are ways, trust me, there are. Okay? But I'm not going to go into that. I'm not a CPA. It's not my space to do it. All right? But you've got to keep track of that. You've got to pay attention to how much money you're spending. You've got to pay attention to how much money you got coming in and how much money you got going out. Because if you don't pay attention to how much money you got coming in and you're not saving money and you're not paying attention to how much money you've got going out, oh, guess what? Shit. Taco Bell's going to be a kind of pricey experience for you. All right? People don't do it. We see people coming here and treating retirement like vacation. It's not. Retirement is not vacation. Now, I recognize, if you're a veteran, and thank you for your service, okay? If you're a veteran And we see this. We've seen veterans that are on 100% disability, plus they have their VA benefits with TRICARE and everything else, and they have a 20-year pension from the military, and they have Social Security. They're grossing about 95,000 US dollars a year, some of these guys. And they're not taxed on a large chunk of it, but they are taxed on a part of it. That being said, I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. But we've seen one guy spend his way through it. Accumulate as much debt that he literally went broke. Got to be careful about that. His obligations caused him to go broke. Maybe we should define what is broke. Broke means that you run out of your income prior to the next amount of income coming in. Okay? That's what it means. It doesn't mean you have no money coming in. Broke means you spend more than what you have coming in. This particular gentleman had massive tax liabilities. Massive. And he was in for a rude awakening. All right? We've met a few folks, and this is kind of sad, to be honest with you. We all think we're smarter than this. We've met quite a few people who we know are smarter than this. But they've been associated with people who they thought were their friends, who guided them into very poor investment situations. I'm not going to go into it. I have friends that watch this. They may be pointing fingers at everybody because I'll tell you, there's not a one of us that hasn't thrown money at some sort of less than there's not a one of us that hasn't thrown money at an opportunity that wasn't accurate. Let's leave it at that. Okay? But when you keep doing it and when your friends guide you to it and they get a piece of it, that's sad. Don't invest your money in something that you don't know enough about or are able to withdraw, take a small loss, and get out. When you're screwed, you're screwed. Okay? When you know, that's how they make their savings get smaller and smaller and smaller, by investing like that. All right? We've seen it. We've seen it. And almost every one of the instances that I have just mentioned, almost every one of them starts out with, I don't have a budget. I don't budget my money. Okay? Why wouldn't you budget your money? I can't understand why you wouldn't budget your money. I know it sounds silly, but you need to have a budget and you need to stick to that budget. That's just the way it is. And you can't argue with it, because if you don't stick to that budget, you exceed that budget. Unlike the U.S. government, you need to have a net neutral budget. Okay? Deficit spending doesn't work in personal finances. So, look, very quickly before we leave, I just want to say this. The holidays are coming. We wish all of you a great time. If we don't see you again until after the first of the year, I know that many of our subscribers are on vacation, going on vacation, have family coming, preparing for events. we wish you a great holiday, a great time with family and friends, and the beginning of a great and prosperous new year. Thanks so much. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoyed this, hit that thumbs up, and we will see you again.